All right. Hi, everyone. I am so excited that you're here. And I cannot wait to share my Colorado GEG launch with you. So let's get started. I am so excited to have everyone here today to kind of have a little idea of what, Global GEG is and what my Colorado launch is that I'm working with. And so let me go ahead and get started with all of you. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Amber Trout. I'm the GEG Colorado leader. And I live here in Colorado, but I work up in Fountain in Colorado Springs area. I'm an instructional coach up there. I've been working for teaching and education for 11 years now. And it's just been a huge passion of mine and being in the ed tech world and learning different things. And so I'm glad you're all here. Thank you, everybody. All right, we are going to get started and I will share my screen with you. All right. Okay, so let me get this going here. All right, so we are here for the launch event. If you are living in Colorado or anywhere else, obviously you're more than welcome to join us because everything that we're doing is supporting teachers and educators. So thank you so much for being here. Oops, let me present. I'm sorry. I'm nervous. If anyone's nervous with me, that's what I am.
You are awesome, Amber. So just remember, you're awesome. Okay, I'm leaving you for a second.
Okay. So GEG Colorado, what are we, who are we, and how did this kind of get started? I will just first tell you that I was looking to join one of these groups in Colorado, and there wasn't one. And so I decided, well, why not make one so that everyone can join and learn all of these great tools through Google and share all of their ideas. That's where I learned the most. And so I decided to reach out to Leslie Clark, shout out to her, for nominating me to be a leader. And I too have two wonderful co-captains that are not here with me today, but Kelly Burhost and Stephanie Calloway that definitely helped me with the logistics and my online stuff. So we are so excited to kind of share this with everyone. And then Stephanie's going to talk a little bit more about what it looks like around the world and the different GEGs.
Sure, happy to pop in, Amber. I'm so excited for you and GEG Colorado. In general, we're here. By we, I mean some of us from GEG Global. We're here just to support and cheer you on, but really what it means from a larger picture, and one of the reasons why we have been so excited is that Global GEG, the whole purpose of being a part of Global GEG was that we wanted to help support other groups in feeling like they could get something started in their region where there weren't things before. And in other parts of the world, GEG was really strong, but here in the US and in Canada, there just didn't seem to be a lot of that same momentum. And so the whole point of Global GEG was to help people feel empowered, like Amber, to start their GEG. And then the whole reason that GEGs exist is to help every person at every part of their journey within education and connecting that with ed tech. It might even bleed out into things that aren't ed tech, but I think that that's one piece of it. So whether you're somebody who is looking to get your level 1 or 2 certification, whether you already have that and you're looking to go for a trainer and then be able to help other people, or if you're interested in doing Innovator, or if you just want tips and tricks to help you in your classroom or at your school, all of those pieces are a part of what GEGs are all about. And so it really is about supporting people at any point, wherever they are in the journey. It isn't about scaring people off. It's about welcoming people in and being collaborative. And so that's really what is so exciting about watching this launch, is that you're going to get to have a group in Colorado who will do that with you.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Amber.
So I absolutely, like I said, adore the ed tech world, and I am so excited for everyone to be joining in here. And again, these slides will be ready for you at the end, so you can go through all of them and check out our website and our Twitter and all of those things. So please join in if you haven't already. We would love to have you. So for today, we are going to be going through a couple of things. I have some amazing Google innovators here with me that are going to be sharing their knowledge. We're going to start with 5 ways to prep for remote learning with Becky Shorey. And then we're going to jump into tips for hybrid learning with Emma Pass, who is also joining us from Colorado. She's in Fort Collins. Becky is in Denver area. And so it's super exciting to have all these people in Colorado with me that are able to support this group. And then at the end, we'll kind of have a Q&A if you're wanting to ask some questions. We're going to try to answer those as many as we can in the chat. So if you have anything you want to share with us or any questions that you have, we are going to make sure that we answer all of those. So please make sure you put them in there and we will address those at the end. All right, so let me go ahead and just start with the people that I have here with me today and helping me with all of this, because it is my first time on this and I needed support, and I definitely think it's amazing to have the people that can support you. So we have with me today is Abid Patel. He is in the UK and helping out today. Stephanie Holloway, she's in Ohio and helping out. Stephanie, as you just saw her, this is another Stephanie Rothstein, and she's in Northern California. And then we have Becky Shorey and Emma Pass, which are both in Colorado here. So they do have links to their Twitter all on here once you get these slides. So please give them a follow, learn about all the things they're doing, and really get excited about all these people in this group, because they are super helpful of all the knowledge that they have. So before we get started with this first session, which is 5 things with Becky Shorey, I first want to tell you a little bit about her so you know how amazing she is. I met her at Google Summit. She works for the ed tech team and she does all of those. She is a Google Certified Innovator. She's a trainer. She's piloted a one-on-one Chromebook classroom, and she works up in the Jeffco school. She is an ed tech coach for teachers. She's developed customized lessons integrating technology. And she's now working as a manager of strategic projects with a one-to-one rollout in the fall of 2019 of all the Chromebooks in her school. So I will let Becky take it away. She's going to continue on this presentation with you with all of her things of 5 ways to prep for remote learning. So Becky, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, yeah, so and just one correction, Amber. I actually helped with the rollout for Jeffco schools, not just the school I was at. I originally did a one-to-one rollout at Green Mountain High School and then moved up to the district. So we launched 12,400 and some odd devices this year. So what good timing, right? With remote learning taking place. So welcome everyone. I'm wearing my Sydney 17 t-shirt to support my cohort of innovators. So today, here's our goals. We want to talk about the 5 ways to prepare for remote learning, because honestly, let's face it, I don't know how likely it is we're going to go back to school that we know and love in the fall. So I know that a lot of teachers are super stressed out because it was like ripping the Band-Aid off, right? All of a sudden you're doing remote learning. So I've had a lot of people say, well, what can I do over the summer to make it less stressful in the fall? So that's our goal, is to go through a couple things that you can do. And as I go through them, I don't want you to get overwhelmed, because I'm going to give you a lot of information. Your goal is to find those 1 or 2 nuggets that's going to really help you in the classroom. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing is you got to organize your Google Classroom. So how I organize my slides is I've got these sections. It tells you kind of what's coming up. And on each of these, a lot of slides, I have little things that are interactive, because my goal is for you to go back and use these slides as a reference, right? So these subheaders make it easier for you to find things later when you need them. All right, so the first thing is to make a master Google Classroom. And you might be thinking, well, why would I make a master Google Classroom? There's a couple of key things. One is you can go ahead and reuse a post from there. But the other thing is, I don't know about you, but how many times have you gone and created a classroom assignment and then been like, oh no, I totally forgot. I need to add this or that. Well, each time you make any sort of edits, the kids in your classroom get an email that say that you've updated something, right? And then they start getting really confused. So the thing I like about it the most is it allows me to make mistakes without screwing things up. It's also really great for when I have co-teachers that I'm working with. And so we all are collaboratively making assignments into Google Classroom in this master class. And then we're going ahead and pulling and reusing a post. So what I thought I'd do is show you really fast how you can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and enter. You can see I have a practice class for things like this. There's a whole bunch of nonsense, totally not organized, but it's just for this. So I'm going to go ahead and create an assignment, but I'm really going to reuse a post. And I'm going to go and I'm going to find which class I want to reuse that post. So let's say this physics semester 2. Let's say this is our master class, and I'm going to go ahead and pick this particular one and reuse it. And that just makes my life a lot easier. And I go ahead and I click assign. Just like I said, much simpler way to keep track of things. Also, I've put in a lot of special ed providers in here so that they can kind of see what's coming up, so that when they go to work with the students, they're able to see like, hey, you've got this project coming up or whatever. So it's quite helpful. All right, the next thing is, this is actually Amber's. Virtual classrooms have become quite the rage lately, and you can see why. So this is really just a Google slide, and it's completely interactive. So if I click on different objects, you can see that I get the little Mickey Mouse hand, they call it, that takes you to links. So I'm going to click on the computer, and it takes you over to a Flipgrid assignment that she's got. I click on the reading material, and it takes you over to that particular assignment. So what you could be doing is create something like this, and then each day you go ahead and you can change some of those links for the assignments. And then all you would do is post it straight to Google Classroom. And then your students can see it. All right, if you want, whoopsie, wrong thing. If you want to know how to do this, there's just a short 7-minute tutorial online that I've put in the slides that walks you through some of the different steps, and it's just using Google Slides. If you do a search on YouTube, there's some others that are a little bit more in depth, but I'm all about short and sweet. So that reference will be there. And again, we're going to give you the link to these slide decks right at the end of the presentation. Okay, but the next thing with Google Classroom, so right, you made your master class. What I do is I number all of my assignments for a couple of reasons. First off, you'll notice all of the assignments are labeled with 3 numbers. So I start with 001, 002. And the reason why I do that instead of just 1 and then 10, right, is Google likes to alphabetize things. And so it sometimes gets confused between 1 and 10. So if I have 3 digits, it makes it a lot easier to keep them all alphabetized. So that's really helpful. So again, it makes it easy for you as a teacher in your master classroom to have those assignments and to be able to pull that assignment out that you want when you're at the ready. Our school district also uses Infinite Campus. And those of you who are familiar with Infinite Campus, you have to put in the name of the assignment, and then you also have to put in a little code that for the assignment, and you have to make one up. And I don't know about you, but I never remember like what the heck that code was that I made up. So I just put in the number of the assignment. Also, communication with parents, special ed providers, students is like, hey, you're missing assignment 17. Much easier for communication. So do yourself a favor, number assignments. Okay, the other thing is I found that students turning in late work, I spent my life clicking around in Google Classroom to see like what was handed in, what have I graded, what haven't I? And so I was like, there's got to be a different way. So what I landed on was a late work submission form. Okay, so what I did is I created a form. I posted it into Google Classroom in a topic called resources, right? So the students go ahead and they fill out this late work submission form anytime they want to turn in an assignment. So they have to put their first and last name, the class period, and what class they're enrolled in. Again, you can edit this however you want. And then they have to click on why the assignment is late. So I give them a couple options, like they were absent when it was assigned. This is not so much for remote learning. Maybe you could just, make it a little bit more vague, just like feeling ill or unable to for a little bit. But it depends on what they answer. If they say, I did not understand the directions, let me actually go into edit mode for a second. I have this form mapped. And what that means is if they say I had computer issues, it takes them to a page that says, explain what computer issue you were having and what steps you took to solve the problem. Because I found that a lot of times students were kind of using computer issues as a get out of jail free card. They're like, oh, well, I had computer issues. I'm like, all right, well, we want to teach our kids problem solving skills, right? So what steps did you take in order to try to fix it? And what happened is sometimes I actually got responses back that said, I didn't really have computer issues. I just didn't get it done. Sorry. And I loved the honesty. But what's great about it is then if you come all the way down, I have them tell me the due date and stuff. And then I have them attach the assignment file. And the reason I do that is because it makes it a lot easier for me to not have to dig around. So let me go over to the responses to the spreadsheet. And you can actually see the different students' names, which class they were in. And then you can see over here, attach the assignment file. So now instead of me having to go into Classroom and clicking this, and this, I just have my spreadsheet. And you'll notice that what I've done is I've changed some of these rows to green. Some of them are white. And so what you do is you right click. Sorry. No, you don't. Just kidding. You click on the row and I just turn that color to green. And the only reason I do that is because I don't check this every day, right? I'll only check it once in a while. And so that way it's a way for me to track what have I already taken care of and entered into the grade book and is good to go. What do I still need to work on? And then what I found is there was actually some trends that showed up. So why were the assignments late? If you notice, there's 27% forgot about it. So I actually showed the students this graph and we had a lesson on how do you keep track of assignments, and let's use Google Keep and Google Calendar and reminders and all of that sort of thing. How do you use the app on your phone to help keep you up to date and stop forgetting things? So again, one of the things over the summer is maybe you want to think about setting up one of these forms and posting it in Classroom. I'd also recommend making a little kind of tutorial video that goes with this assignment or with this resource so the students know what it is. And I got some pushback. They're like, why do I have to do that? It's a second step. I just want to turn it into Classroom. And I explained to them, kind of the workflow for a teacher. And once I did that, they're like, okay, I guess that makes sense. And I'm like, if you want me to grade it quickly, it needs to be in here. All right, so what I've done is I have these little buttons right here. So if you click on them, it'll force you to make a copy. And so you can actually have that same Google form and then edit it any way you want. Because I don't know about you, but my time is very limited. So anything that I can save you by giving you a copy is a good thing. Another thing is there are certain things in your Google Classrooms that you're going to use over and over again, right? Maybe you use the same rubric for writing or grading video assignments or something like that. So yes, you can attach those to the particular assignment, or what you can do, let me come over to Google Classroom. So what I'm going to do is create a material and I'm going to call it resources. If I go to try to add a file, it's just going to have me do one particular file from Google Drive, and that's not really what I want. I might want a whole folder worth of stuff. So I'm going to actually say I want a link. Okay, what link do I want? I'm going over to my Google Drive. I'm going to open up a folder that has all of my resources in it. I'm going to hit the down arrow and say get a shareable link. Make sure that's turned on. Okay, I picked the wrong file. Whatever, you get the gist. Okay, and you're going to go ahead and copy that, and you're going to come back over. You're going to paste the link and say add link. Okay, so that way you can put that whole folder with all your rubrics, all the reading materials, maybe a unit worth of reference stuff, whatever you want at that particular time. So it's, whoops, there's that mouse thing. It's very touchy. All right, so I'm going to pause here before I get to streamlining lesson plans, because I bet there's probably a couple of questions. Any?
Becky, so I know that people were loving the, I know you were talking about putting videos in there. What would be, I mean, what are you using to put videos in there, and what are some really great ways that you're using video in there?
For directions.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so my favorite is Screencastify. I use it for all kinds of things. And so a lot of times what I'll do, especially when we make this switch to remote learning, sometimes kids get a little lost. Like I feel pretty savvy technologically. And then I went back to grad school and my class is online and I'm like, wait, what? What's the assignment? Where are we? Like I have a whole new respect living in a digital world. But yeah, I think a lot of times using just Screencastify to capture like click here, go here, and put those little helpful tips in is really helpful for the students.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
I think everyone's just loving what you're saying. You're having a lot of positive comments on amazing things that you're doing. So continue.
Okay, well then let's get to the really good stuff. Okay. I used to say that I was lazy, so I would come up with all these ideas. And so I was like, okay, that's maybe a negative way to say it. So really, I like to be efficient with my time so that I can do things that I really want to do. And so I found that I was spending a lot of time catching people up on what they missed or re-explaining myself 8,000 times. Not my favorite thing to do. And so if you can streamline your lessons a little bit, that's helpful. So remember, we already made a master Google Classroom, or we're going to, right? So I like using templates. And I don't know if you guys know Lauren at all. You should follow her at Designed Schools. She actually has a website, and down here at the bottom, I have a little button right there for you to click on if you want to go right to her website, and you can get copies of all these different templates. So I believe this is her Innovator project. I can't remember what cohort she's in, but you can take these templates and use them each day so that the students are getting used to this routine, right? So that they see what are the directions each day, what are they expected to learn? And she's got a variety of different options. So that's one thing that you could do. And then you just, as a teacher, you fill this in each day and you post it to Google Classroom on the assignment. So what I would do in Google Classroom is organize it so that I have like daily lessons as a topic so that the students can go ahead and see that. Another thing that you could do, Amber and I, this is actually one of the places that we really got to know each other. We went to this same professional development and we were blown away. I know, right?
It's so have you in here.
Yeah, you have to get used to me always saying like, okay, this is my favorite thing, because I have like 8,000 favorite things.
This is my favorite thing.
It's one of my favorites. So again, as a teacher, you want things to be easy for your students to be able to find. So what these guys did in Cherry Creek Schools is they created multiple tab slides, and you it's really a slide deck, and it looks like little folders. Here, let me just open this for you so that you can see it. It's pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and click on magenta. I feel magenta today. All right. And I am going to open up 5 source tabs. So if I click on tab 1, let's put it in present mode. If I click on tab 1, it looks like I'm actually on that tab because the whole thing is outlined, right? And then I go to tab 2. Oops. Oh, great. There's always something that doesn't work. Isn't that the way it, okay. All right, there you go. So tab 2, and notice that the outline is now green. I go to tab 3. So how could you use this? Maybe you have tab 1 is your introduction to a lesson, and tab 2 is topics for students to explore, right? Tab 3 is a place for them to explain their learning, right? So you could use it in a multiple different ways. You could also use this for lesson plan for Monday, lesson plan for Tuesday, and so on. So like I said, in this drive, it's like, what color do you want? And how many tabs do you want? You just make a copy and then you can use it. So since you have this in your Google Classroom, you could set up all these directions for your assignments, again, over the summer, so you don't have that workload come the start of the school year, and post that to Google Classroom when the time is ready. All right. Did you guys like that as much as I did? Because I thought that was awesome. All right. Next up. So this is actually one of the things that I did. So again, I wanted to streamline. This might go over some of your heads. I'm using kind of a lot of different things to do this. But when you're ready for it, it'll be here. And some of you guys, it's going to be what you need right now. So what I did is I created myself as a teacher a Google form that I take myself each day, and I bookmark it on my bookmarks bar. Okay, so as a teacher, I come through and I take today's date. Remember that whole numbering assignments? So I'm going to say assignment 13 is due today. You wouldn't really do bell ringer with remote learning, but you're going to get a copy of this if you want one, so you can edit that out if you want. So I'm going to say there's your bell ringer, here is your homework, and then I've preloaded this form with all of the learning objectives. And so all I have to do is click on it. I'm not rewriting them, and I just reuse this form each time and copy, like, read out all the learning goals from the previous unit and put new ones in, and I still have that same form that I'm constantly using. Okay, if it's better. So then I'm going to say here, we're doing assignment 19, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this today, and then we're going to do this. Here's my fast typing, right? And then announcements, don't forget, hey guys, there's a test next week. And I say submit.
This is awesome. Thank you so much, Becky. Sorry, your sound was going in and out a second ago, but I just wanted to make sure you're good to go.
I can go with the old-fashioned headphones. How about that?
Perfect. Perfect. Don't want to miss anything, you know.
Is that better?
Yes. Thank you.
Nope. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Now I can't hear anything.
Okay. You should be good. I
can't hear you guys. External. How about that? Better?
Yes. You good?
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, that was terrible.
Okay, now I can't hear you. Technical difficulties. Don't
Yeah, this is funny. You know what's interesting is, Amber, when you're there with her, we can
it works.
The sound is fine. So I don't know. Maybe it's just like a sign. You just need to
maybe I just
together and let her talk. But
moral support.
Becky, are we hearing you now? Let's. I don't know that we're hearing you yet. No.
Becky, can't hear you.
She's gonna. I believe in her. She knows what she's doing.
I mean, I can take it from here if you want me to.
I know, but that so far, maybe we can see if people had any questions. If people had any questions about what she previously was doing. We had lots of happy comments about how they love, like when she was talking about tabs, and they.
The one thing I wanted to say about tabs is that you cannot change the background. The kids cannot change the background. They can't edit anything. And that's the best part about it is you put something live for kids to just click through with links, and they never have to worry about it being edited or changed. Like sometimes in slides, kids can do that. So
yeah.
that's
my favorite. That master slide is my favorite thing in the whole world for sure. Use the magic of the master slide. And then somebody put, I thought this was a great comment. I think I would use this for my SPED team for directions. Like, I thought this was great. Perfectly pieced classroom. I'm with you. I love that. Like posting things for directions so that they don't have to explain it for each and every, like all the paraprofessionals. Love it. Love it. What a great like use of it.
And then I wanted to see, I was going to make sure, I wanted to see what you guys are using as resources in your virtual classroom. So I know that we didn't get to go through that in there, but I would love to know like what you're using. In my virtual classroom, I was using things like Flipgrid, and I was putting things like Actively Learn and other things they can do. I even put YouTube videos to like things in there on how it's made, just because everything should be a clickable link, I feel like. So share in the chat some things that you're doing or the resources that you're using in your virtual classroom, because that would be amazing to share those.
Hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can, Becky. We're so happy to have you back because I just kept learning, and I would have been so sad if we stopped that.
That was so crazy stressful, guys. I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you.
Handled it like, oh, look at you. You're back and better than ever, Becky.
I'm back and better than ever. Okay, because this is totally going to rock your world, right? So I as a teacher, I went and I did the autocrats, right? So now, let's see, submit another response. I'm going to go to, you guys know that when you create a Google form, you can see the responses and it creates a spreadsheet for you. Okay, so here you can see I use this a lot. Well, I use what's called autocrats, and it takes whatever is in the form and puts it onto a document. And look, it titled it today's date, 5/30/2020 agenda. And I open that document up, and here's my daily agenda. It's actually titled this document, which you notice, like, I was busy dealing with sound issues. Like I wasn't filling anything in. It just took all of that information and automatically put it into this document. So now all I have to do is go over to Google Classroom, right? I create an assignment, and you might say, why would you make this as an assignment? I want to add this to my Google. I want it to show up on a calendar, because you know that anytime you have a Google Classroom, it creates a Google Calendar for the students. So I want it to show up on their assignment. So I'm going to say, let's see, what's the date today? 5/30 agenda. And I'm going to go ahead and add in from my drive, because it's the most recent document that just got created. Boom, it's right there. I say add, and if you want, you could add a topic for agendas, and you say assign. Now, that's kind of awesome in itself, but I'm going to show you in a few minutes how this is going to then be communicated to parents. So you no longer have parents like saying, hey, I want to help my student, but I don't know what's going on. They can see each day what you're doing in the classroom. All right, so that's kind of awesome. And if you wanted to learn more about all the steps, I've included, I've included here, I have another presentation called Automate Your Daily Agendas and Lesson Plans. It walks you through all of the different steps with screenshots. And if you ever get stuck on a point, you can always reach out to me at beckyshorey@gmail.com, and I can walk you through whatever point you're stuck with. But this has been a favorite for a lot of teachers because it really helps streamline your workflow. So I can actually do my daily agendas in just a couple of minutes. and it saves me a lot of time. And just on a side note, you know how sometimes there's parents that are like, hey, can you email me like each day what's going on, or maybe your special ed provider that's helping with the students. When you're actually setting up those daily agendas, you can set it up so that every time you hit the submit button, those people get an email with a copy of that document. So it's kind of awesome and magical. All right, so I'm going to take it one step further. So setting up a website. Oh, somebody says Becky sounds like she's in a fishbowl. Oh, no, says fine. Okay, I'm just going with it. So I set up a teacher website for myself. So again, parents have all of the access to all of the documents. So again, this is hyperlinked. You can actually go straight to the to my website. So I've got my name, right? I've got directions if you want on how to set up a Google site, each step by step. But here's what it looks like for parents is I've got one set up for my earth science class, one for my environmental science class. And then we talked about how Google Classroom makes a calendar for each class. I'll show you what I mean. Let's come over here to calendar. You can see over here in calendars, this one physics semester 2, that's my Google Classroom calendar, okay? So I take that calendar right there and I embed it into the website. Now you have to change the sharing permissions to show so that the parents can see it. So the great thing about that is that if you have assignment 27 due tomorrow, they're going to be able to see on the calendar, assignment 27 is due tomorrow. They don't have access to the student's Google Classroom, but they at least have a conversation starter with their students saying, hey, what's this assignment 27? And now it increases communication with the families. If they want more information about that, assignment 27 or whatever, I've actually, when I set up the autocrat to automatically make all of these agendas right here, I have all of these agendas going into a particular folder that I set up in my Google Drive. Okay, so what I've done then, whoopsie. What I've done is I've taken that folder and I've embedded it into the website so the parents can find the date, click on it, and now they can actually see the agenda for that particular day. And now they know what assignment 27 is, okay? Again, you're gonna have to change the sharing permissions on that particular folder. So now I've spent, 3 minutes making the daily agenda, posting it to Classroom, and my website is updated for all my parents to see. And I've really spent no extra time once I had that set up. So this has been a huge game changer for me in the classroom. So, okay, any questions or comments on that before I go somewhere else?
I think we're good on that, but I know that everyone was super excited about Autocrat, and some people have some really great ideas using it for feedback forms, using it for certificates and different things. And so I think that that's what we're getting, a lot of people that are giving us their ideas for Autocrat, which we all love. I use it myself.
Right, yeah, so administrators, I set it up so that administrators can do like the walkthroughs in classrooms. And the second they walk out of the room, teachers get worried a little bit getting evaluated, and they hit submit, and that teacher has an email automatically that with comments and feedback about the walkthrough. So that's been really helpful as well.
That's exactly what I'm using it for, and our admin is doing the same for those feedback forms. Immediate feedback is the minute you hit submit on your form. So
it really is magical.
Yeah.
The more you dive into Autocrat, the more you love it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Keep going.
All right. So step 4, things that you can do this summer is get yourself organized, right? Organize your Google Classroom folder and archiving stuff. Organize your folder structure. Organize your Gmail and filters. Okay, My Google phone is like, what do you want? So I'm not going to lie, I'm terrible at organizing my Gmail. I do not have a 0 inbox. It's out of control, but that's okay. I'll show you a couple of things. All right, so archiving in Google Classes. Most of you guys know how to do this, right? If I'm in Google Classroom, I can go ahead and hit what I call the snowman, right? The 3 dots, and I can say archive that class, which is great. So all the students, their class gets archived as well. But remember, Google automatically made a calendar for that as well. So you want to come over to your calendar and you want to find that particular class. I already hid this one, so I'm not going to worry about it. You find the snowman and you say hide from list. So now again, you're not seeing all the clutter on the side of your calendar from all those. If you want, you can full on delete it, but I don't know why you'd ever really need it again, but I get a little nervous deleting stuff forever. Commitment issues, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, so I just hide it. And then you also have over in your drive, you have a folder that was automatically created when you set up Google Classroom, right? So what I have done is I have made a new folder called Archived. And then I have made a folder within that folder for each semester. So I go all the way back to fall of 2014. That makes me feel old. With my classes. And this is fall of 2015. This is spring of 2015. So that's kind of my naming structure. So if I were to go ahead and open that folder, you can see here's all of the classes that I taught that particular year. And so all my documents and everything for there are in that particular folder. But you have to archive stuff in 3 places to really clean up your life a little bit. So that's one major thing that you can be doing. And then I've got a couple more things for you. I already talked about that because I know we are running out of time. Organizing your folders and subfolder structures, okay? So what I found is when I first started using Google Drive, my life was a mess and I had things everywhere. So what works best for me is I have my folder structure for, here's my class. My class was EarthCom or Earth Science, right? From there, I had a unit, Earth System Evolution. Within that unit, I had several different topics. Okay, so one of the main ones was astronomy. Within there, I have several activity. I called them activities, but really it was like mini units. So we were talking about the history and size of the solar system, the Earth Moon system, right? So I have it super duper organized. So that's another thing that you could work on over the summer is just kind of organizing it, or might be better and less overwhelming if you actually make this commitment to get yourself organized next year as you're starting to go through and using all of those documents. Then over the course of a year, you're organizing all your files and it's not so overwhelming. Okay. Inbox. Again, like I said, I cleaned this up before presenting to you guys because it was out of control. I'm going to show you one thing. If you want more, maybe somebody could put into the chat the link that you guys did the other day on getting yourself organized, because that was a great thing on how to really dive into Gmail and getting organized. That would be fantastic. Okay, so what I do, one thing really fast, I go to the settings, I configure my inbox, and I set it so that I've got these other headings of social promotionals, update, and I say save, and that just gives me these headings over here. So if you do nothing else, that one thing can very quickly pull out all of those Google Classroom notifications or Schoology notifications, and it kind of puts them in a different folder, okay? If you want more on that, like I said, those guys did a really great job of explaining how to organize it. I've also put in just a couple videos right here in the slide deck that are real short and sweet on how to make a filter and a label, which takes things to a whole new level. If you want more organizational tips, this is a new favorite, is Help My Digital Life is a Hot Mess. I go into all kinds of different things on organizing your life. So that is also there as a resource. And last thing, only a couple minutes yet, is what I would do is I find that people get choice paralysis, right? There's so many things out there available for teachers, and right now everything's free, that you get paralyzed because you don't know what to pick. So think about, what are the things that you need, right? You need some sort of place to go and get text information that the students can actually read, right? You need somewhere, some sort of video content, like the kids are going to watch videos and you don't want to make them all. So where are you going to go? Yes, you could go YouTube, but find tools that are good for those purposes and then use the tools. A lot of times people go in reverse. They're like, here's the tool and then I'm going to do this, but find your function that you want to happen. Okay. And then use the appropriate tool. So I just put in a couple of my favorites that are my go-to all the time. So Actively Learn is amazing for if I want text. So I want some sort of like book to read and it has embedded questions within there. I, as a teacher, can see who's answered what. So that's my go-to. For videos, my go-to is Edpuzzle, because I can pull in a YouTube video. I can pause it at any place and ask a question to make sure the students are understanding. I already mentioned Screencastify because that records my screen, so I can give step-by-step directions. I can also, if I'm doing, anyway, it's my go-to. And then Pear Deck. So as a science teacher, I did, some presentations. I wanted to put in some video and some kind of slides and stuff, but I wanted to ask questions. So I use Pear Deck for that. So that's my go-to. If you want more, Casey Bell has 70 plus apps that integrate with Google Classroom. And I also have a slide here. I need to update it a little bit, but all of these will integrate with Google Classroom. And what I mean by that is there's a button that I click and it's linked to my classroom and it pushes out an assignment to my kids. And all of these are hyperlinked. So if you click on like if you click on Actively Learn, it's going to take you straight to that website because you don't have time to rummage on the internet, right? So those are resources available for you. So again, that's a lot. Don't stress. Find one thing that's helpful, right? And go with that. And then find one more thing. So that was what I wanted to cover today. Obviously, there's a lot more, but it gets overwhelming if you get too much.
Yes, I think all of that is amazing, Becky. Thank you so much. And we have your website on the bottom there. So anybody that wants to see more of her work, that's where it is, and check it out. My favorite thing that you said today was choice paralysis. I think that's completely true.
Right. Yeah, everybody experiences it and they get so overwhelmed because there's so much out there and you don't have to learn it all. And I've had so many people say, I just wish I could download everything in your brain. But, I attended my first EdTech Summit in 2013. So this has been years worth of stuff. And I heard a great quote. I forget who, but they were a spotlight speaker. And they said, sucking is the first step to being kind of good at something, right? Because I hear it all the time. Oh, I'm terrible with technology. Well, guess what? Everybody is when they start, and you do it and you flail and you get a little better as you go on. So give yourself a break, right? This is different. You did not go to school for this. You didn't have student teaching to help you with this, right? And yes, we want to start being more interactive and stuff like that. And so Emma's going to talk in just a second here. Oh, hey, Jackie. And so Emma's going to talk more about how do you still maintain those relationships, because mine's just about like structure, right? But you still have to have that. So I'm going to, I guess, turn it over.
Thank you so much, Becky. Again, I could not be more appreciative of all of the things you shared with us today. So thank you.
Sure.
All right, we're going to get started with Emma. Emma is coming on in. Let me share your screen, Emma. Okay, there it is. So Emma, let me introduce you to this amazing Google Innovator as well. Emma is a secondary English teacher. She's a Google Certified Trainer and an Innovator. She is taught in Las Vegas and London, and she lives in Fort Collins currently. She's teaching secondary English as a hybrid online at a K through 12 school. So she has already some advanced things that she knows about this because she's been doing it long before this whole epidemic. So we're going to get started with Emma today, and we are so excited to have her for engaging students in this remote learning environment.
Awesome. Thank you, Amber. I just want to say thank you to Amber for starting this GEG in Colorado. If in the chat box you want to give Amber some love for doing that, I think it's so valuable to have in our great state. So really appreciative of Amber, and just floored by Becky's presentation. I just want to know everything Becky knows, because that was fantastic. I learned so many new things from Becky just now. So really excited to be here with all of you. I'm going to not really do an entire presentation today. This is more of a teaser. I'll be back in July to kind of do what Becky did for you. But I just want to give you a little preview of some of the things I will be talking about a little bit later on. So my session will be all on engaging students during remote learning. As Amber mentioned, I'm teaching in a kind of unique environment. This is my school here up in Fort Collins, Colorado. We're called PSD Global Academy, Poudre School District. And we are a public K through 12 hybrid school. So what that means is pre-pandemic, our students, and this is our middle school schedule, the elementary and the high school kind of have slightly different versions of this. But in our middle school schedule, we teach Tuesdays and Thursdays, really traditional education. Our students come to campus, they go to their periods, they go to lunch, they go to PE. It looks like a really normal school day on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But Monday and Friday, they're staying home and working online and remotely. So we were using, Google Meet, Google Classroom, and a lot of these tools to deliver that instruction online. And then on Wednesday, we had this kind of hybrid day within the hybrid school where we had a morning where students come into what we call an open lab, and they're working either in small groups, one-on-one with teachers, or just getting supports that they need for their work. And they also have online work that day. So when we're talking about online learning or hybrid learning, we're talking about two different systems. One is synchronous learning, where we're learning together at the same time, right? That's what we do in the classroom. We stand in front of the students and they're all learning the same thing at the same time. That's what we're doing right now online too. So synchronous learning happens when we're on like a video conferencing platform. I'm talking to you and you're all getting this information together right now. And then the other style is asynchronous learning. So it's the exact opposite. Students are accessing their content at their own time, kind of learning at different times, different paces, and not quite all together. So what that looks like in our school schedule now that we are in this pandemic and we've gone entirely online is that our Tuesdays and Thursdays, where they used to be our live in-person days where we were teaching, in the classroom, we've kept that really consistent, but now we're just teaching online synchronously. So we log on to Google Classroom on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we deliver lessons live online. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are those asynchronous days, just like they used to be, where our students are accessing their content on Google Classroom. And I'm using a lot of the tools that Becky was talking about, Pear Deck and WeVideo and Screencastify, to put together and deliver those lessons. And then Wednesday, we're still maintaining some office hours so that students can come in small groups or one-on-one to get those tutoring support type that they used to get. So what I'll be talking about more in July is fun and fantastic ways to engage your students during remote learning, because really The difference now is that students have a lot more choice than they used to have about if and when they're going to engage in school, right? When we have students in person, it's a lot easier to persuade them to engage or to, at least somewhat engage in their work. But when they're at home, you have a lot less leverage over when and if they are going to do that work. So more than ever, it's so important that we're thinking about ways to make this fun and fantastic and interesting, and pique student curiosity to motivate them to get there and do that work. So I'll be talking about this in two different ways. We'll be talking about synchronous learning. So when you're meeting with your students over, Google Meet or Zoom or whatever platform you're using, different ways for students to first connect with each other. It can feel really lonely and isolating learning online. So we want to get as much student voice into our online classrooms as possible. And as you probably know from video conferencing, that's super hard to do in a big group. So there are a lot of different tools and strategies we can look at to either facilitating that in a whole group or breaking up into small groups. The second one is how to incorporate some movement into our online lessons, because if you're like me, you can start to feel really stuck in your body when you're here in your chair in front of your screen all day. So thinking about different ways to incorporate movement online. And then the third is how to play games together in a virtual environment. It's one of my favorite things to do with students. And now I kind of think back and cringe about all the games where we're like throwing balls to each other and touching hands. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we ever did that. So how can we translate that online where we are, still playing together and having fun? And then we'll also talk about the asynchronous learning piece. The first and most important thing you have to ask yourself is, how do I get my students to log in? What can I do to interest them or motivate them to actually turn on their computer and get to Google Classroom? So providing different kind of virtual spaces for socialization and communication, making things fun and interesting, and then also kind of design elements to make it visually appealing, make it a space where students want to spend online. And then finally, how to pique interest or curiosity within the lessons themselves. So once you get them online, they're one step closer to doing that work. How do you get that work to be interesting and engaging enough to encourage your students to complete it? So that's what I will be talking about on July 6th. It's scheduled at 11 a.m. It'll be just like this, and I will be talking all about those things, fun and fantastic ways to engage your students during remote learning. So I hope to see you there, Ben. And I'm going to pass it back to Amber, I think, to wrap up and take some questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Emma. We decided yesterday that we were going to do a July 6th with you, so we're so excited. Thank you so much. And I appreciate all of your expertise in this since you've been doing it for a while. Thank you. All right, so we are going to, let me share my screen with you, but we are going to take some questions and kind of wrap this all up. I know you guys have been here a while. Thank you for all of you that have been here and joined us for this presentation. I'm so excited. This is my first one, and I'm glad to have you all here. So is there any questions that we have or anything that you would be interested in learning or knowing about? I'm looking for other opportunities to have other presentations as well. So if you have ideas, drop them in the chat, or if you want to join our website and Twitter, let me know. That would be great. So Abid, Stephanie, any of you have any questions that we want to address, or I think we're good?
I think most of what you're getting right now is lots of love and praise. And I personally just wanted to say I love the way that you actually conducted this, because it felt like we really got something from this session. Like, we learned so much from Becky. I think that then we now know what's to come at your next meeting. Like, I just think that's a super cool way to begin, knowing that there's so many things out there right now. And I think that you really honed in on what's most important, especially for educators, not just in your region, but everywhere. So I think you left it where people maybe don't have as many questions because you gave them a lot of great info and they're thinking about how they want to apply it, maybe.
No problem.
Yeah, most of it has just been like, great job.
I was going to say, I definitely can't take all the credit for that. Becky's the one who came up with those ideas on the 5 best ways and things that she thinks that teachers would, love the most. And so thank you for all of that. I ran with her idea. And so that was really great. Again, like Stephanie said, we do have a ton of information here, and this is recorded, so lucky you can watch it later. I know that was something Becky said, being able to have videos to look and watch later and do things with, so you got it.
Yeah, and it's the same YouTube link if you're here on YouTube, but it'll also be on the Global channel. You'll probably put it on your website, I'm sure, too.
Yes, correct. And then
to sign up for Emma's session, I just put the link in the chat. So if you would like to sign up for Emma's next session, feel free to do so. It's going to be amazing. I've seen Emma present a ton of times, and she has taught me so much. And then also leave us feedback.
Right.
Yes, please. I know I made sure when they were picking a date, I'm like, can it be one where I can go? Because I want to learn from Emma. Please.
Yes. Yes. So, and again, that link right there on the slide for the presentation. So you have all the slides that you can look at and refer to them later, since Becky had so much rich information that was amazing in there. So I think without further ado, that's a wrap, guys.
Yay, Amber, congrats. Let's give the biggest congratulations. I think it is a monumental task to do and start it, and you did it in the best way possible. What a great way to start GEG Colorado. So yay, good job.
Woo! All right, and I shall see you all July 6th for my session with Emma. And don't forget to sign up for the boot camp. I'm also helping Stephanie MC that. So we are going to be there together. And
wait, I'll have to learn, because we'll have to tag team and do.
Yeah. Wait,
no, other way. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I like it.
All right. Thank you so much. And we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody. Great job, Amber.
Thank you.